Conservatives were similarly outraged by the support for Karmelo Anthony, an alleged murderer who's been glorified by some as a victim of a racist system. We're here to debate all this as the host of the Fresh and Fit podcast, Myron Gaines, the host of Night School on YouTube, Mark Lamont Hill, Lily Gaddis, a social media commentator whose video defense of the N-word mother has so far been viewed millions of times on X, and the New York Post columnist and author Ricky Schlott. Well, welcome to all of you. Ricky, look, my take on this is a stain on all their houses, right? I just don't know what is happening to society when you have such vast sums of money being raised for what seems to me to be deliberate, racially charged, motivational reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're fighting ugly with ugly right now. And I think this level of racial tribalism and hostility is just simply not sustainable.
Yeah, to throw more light, before we go into this video, there is something more concerning. This is a big topic on social media, and people are reacting to it with a lot of sentiment. Karmelo Anthony is something we have been talking about on this channel for some time. Charlotte the other day called a child with this N-word, and a lot of people picked that topic up, reacted to it. She started receiving threats from different angles, like she needed to relocate. She launched a GoFundMe. A lot of consecutives on social media contributed money to her, and it is a problem to a lot of people. Some says this is a revenge as a result of the money Karmelo Anthony's family raised. Now we are here. It is important we take an exclusive look into what is going on exactly.
Shaking your head there. I mean, what's your take on this?
There are a couple of things that were said that I think are really interesting and important. One, there is an outside audience of people who are watching all of this and opportunistically using it for their own agendas and projects. You know, I have an investment in believing X, so I'm going to jump in the comments of this GoFundMe, etc. I have an investment in Y, I'm going to do the same thing. But what I don't want to do is compare these two things as if they're opposite sides of the same coin. For me, the intention of the campaign matters. In the case of this woman who is using the N-word, the woman isn't disputing using the N-word. The woman isn't disputing being racist. And the comments that are being left on the site before they were suspended and the attitudes behind it weren't saying she's being railroaded, she's being misrepresented. They were simply saying, we support racism. And I think that's disgusting, no matter who's doing it. On the other hand, the people who are fundraising for Karmelo Anthony, the argument here isn't, yeah, we did something and we don't care, like the other woman. The argument is we're being misrepresented here. We're being railroaded. But this was a self-defense claim. This is not an act of violence. This isn't first-degree murder. I'm saying what they're saying. This isn't my argument. They're saying this is a first-degree claim that is wrong. This is actually self-defense, and we need the money to make sure that we get a fair trial. I think, and so whether you agree with his argument or not, I think raising money for a fair trial is different than raising money for a racist.
I mean, I think the common theme between the two, and this is not to pass any view about it at this stage, although I have strong views about it, I guess the common theme is that both of them say that as a result of all the publicity, they've been doxxed and had all their personal details put everywhere on social media, which is, of course, the modern scourge which gets involved. And that as a result, they've had threats and they have security issues and they have to move home and so on. You know, I understand that part of the argument. You know, when you're at the center of a firestorm in America and you're not used to public attention, then the levels of intimidation, threats and so on that can come your way can be extremely intimidating.
Yes, I don't know what Mark is struggling to defend here. And it saddened my heart that he always do this. I understand. He played the race card every time. Seeing him coming here to say Karmelo Anthony's family has a right to raise money, to do this, do that, then saying, oh, they should not raise money to the other lady, to me, there is some questions to it. Let me say this. Can we stop this now? We should stop raising money into this kind of situations. Yeah, because in as much as we continue to raise money, we will continue to see these cases every single day. Carmelo's situation has taught me a lesson, and if people don't stand up in the nearest future, these cases will be everywhere. Any small thing, this will come out to raise money. Now, this lady did something consecutive, saw it like she need to relocate. She's not safe. But these other people, the other side, they said, no, this is wrong. I've seen their reactions on social media.
It's interesting to me that Lily Gaddis, you retweeted Nick Fuentes, the white racist, by saying he said black people just raised $500,000 for death. So I don't want to hear one word about the Shiloh Hendricks fundraiser. Either everyone gets to be tribal or nobody does. Why would you retweet that?
Because we have to fight fire with fire. I mean, at some point,
How
are
about
Jewish
nobody does?
why are people allowed to be tribal? Why are black people allowed to be tribal? But as soon as white people stand up for themselves, we're labeled a racist. And by the way, you call people racist when you want them to stop talking about things.
No, I called you a racist because you admitted you were racist. Hang on.
Literally
I called, just to be
agreed that you were
clear,
racist.
I called you a racist because you openly, proudly admitted you're a racist. So it wasn't a question of exposing you or pointing my finger or trying to get this out of you. You proudly sat there, bold as brass, and said, yeah, I use the N-word all the time against black people. I'm a racist and I'm proud of it. That's what you did.
Racism is just having a preference. I prefer not to live around black people. I prefer not to live in a country where white people in our country are disproportionately attacked by black people. Where in my country, you can have an Austin Metcalf where he asks a guy to leave and he gets stabbed in the heart. I prefer that. That's a preference. Now, what a real racist is, in my opinion, is seeing someone as less human. I'm a Christian. I believe everyone's created in God's image. So I don't see anyone as less human. But that doesn't mean I'm not allowed to have a preference and say, I don't like what happens to be coming out of this community or that community. How is that a bad thing? How is that not just a preference?
Because you've literally made black people sound lesser humans. You don't want to live around them. You want to use the N-word in relation to them, a word that you know causes that community unbelievable offense.
My fault? Is that my fault? If they have bad behavior, if they want to act in a certain way, if I have to cross the street and be afraid that maybe because of the crime statistics that are very real, by the way, is that my fault or is that their fault for having bad behavior?
That's mind-boggling to me. I mean, we're talking about bad behavior. You know, we've never lynched you. We've never enslaved you. We've never done any of the deep-seated structural forms of injustice to white people that white people have done to black people. And yet, to claim some kind of moral superiority in the midst of, and again, in the context of a conversation where a white woman is calling a 5-year-old autistic child the N-word, and we're talking about black people's bad behavior, this is absurd. And the idea of fighting fire with fire, again, is a dishonest argument. Just to take us back to the point here, the people who are supporting Karmelo Anthony's campaign believe that he was wrongfully charged, and they're trying to get him legal defense. The people who are defending this woman are saying, yes, we know you called the 5-year-old autistic black child the N-word, and we want more of it. We approve of it. We support it. These are not the same thing. And it's bonkers to me.
Yes, there is no justification of taking away someone's life. No matter how you try to justify it, there is no justification. Yeah, if you want to go against someone and at that level, not lean into taking away his life. Mark here struggling to see defend it, saying, oh, they have a justification because he was wrongfully, it get me irritated. Looking at this lady, I follow her on X to see what she's putting out. She has her way of thinking. You have the right to be comfortable where you want. If you see that being closer to this particular group of people will cause you issues, it is good for you to move to where you want. It's not like you're hating on them. You have right to choose locations. Reason there are certain places someone like me cannot stay there. Yeah, I'm struggling to reply to what she said here. I know Piers Morgan, he's always fond of that, cutting people, not allowing people to really go deep into what they think. Not saying, oh, people have right to donate to Carmelo and they don't have right to do to the other lady. she was wrong to say what she did, like calling that child an N word. I totally don't agree with the calling of names. Okay, but it took to another level where her life is at stake. She need to move to another place, and she doesn't have that money because a big issue. Everybody's talking about it. In that case, I will gladly say, okay, she should have some money to relocate to be safe. That is just what I observe about this whole situation, and it is very easy for us to understand that.
Recently, I said that black people need to stop justifying Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. I also said that if you look for reasons to apply double standards to others, others will look for reasons to apply a double standard to you. And now it's happening. 8 days ago, a woman named Shiloh Hendricks went viral. At a park, a 5-year-old black child allegedly tried to take something from her child's diaper bag. Her info got leaked online and she got nuts. So she started a fundraiser. People rallied to her defense, largely in response to Carmelo supporters. Here's what these situations have in common. First, massively disproportionate responses.
I don't want to make the video long. I will end here. What this guy said on this whole clip makes a lot of sense. I'm someone, I don't care. If you call me N-word, do this, all those things to me, I don't really take offenses when things like that are concerned. So when I see people getting too agitated to a certain word, I don't understand. Maybe I'm different. Thank you guys for always been there sharing on my videos. God bless you abundantly. And please, if you see any clip after this, that is just for the YouTube algorithm.
This Karmelo Anthony case is extremely disturbing.
Failed into is the political operatives.
Thing you could imagine, where Austin Metcalf said something racist. No one's alleging that. And that Karmelo Anthony got upset and said, yeah, I'm not leaving.
He says, but what if he says self-defense?
There's no self-defense because kids in here and resolve this issue is called conflict resolution.
Again, the evidence is still coming in.
This is definitely a self-defense case because it always is one until you look at the facts.
Because she's fearful of what might happen to her.
Followers for anything, and then the
Registration Act is
talking about this man,
My summary of the first 100 days is that
if film and TV productions continue to
first term, and you will be very.
Somebody has to say it. So let me.
The whole world's blown up about this. Have you heard about?